Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tasmanian Independent MP Craig Garland has today confessed to breaking the law after being caught driving under the influence and drug possession. The politician also opened up about his ongoing battles with chronic pain, but says he won't resign despite the possibility of being charged.
Less than a year after being elected to Tasmania's Parliament to create and debate laws, Independent MP Craig Garland has admitted to breaching the state's road rules. On Saturday afternoon, he was driving from Boat Harbour to Montague for a fishing trip when a police roadside drug test found he had THC in his system, a compound found in cannabis.
Then we proceeded to the station and did a saliva sample, which has been sent off for analysis.
The result of that test has not yet been confirmed. If positive, Garland is likely to be charged and summoned to court. The politician admitting to smoking THC the night before without a prescription, making it illegal.
I was surprised that it registered, but wasn't willfully sort of driving along thinking I'd break the law.
The member for Braddon says he has been open with his cannabis use with the community, particularly for health reasons. He's suffered from chronic pain ever since a traumatic broken leg injury in 1997.
My work that I do is all physical. There are some days I struggle to walk. When you're suffering from pain, you don't sit there and equate, am I breaking the law or what have you?
The situation raising questions about whether Garland is still suitable to stand in Parliament.
The community expects a high level from their MPs, but this is a police matter.
People make mistakes, but road safety is an important issue and we have road safety laws for a very good reason.
It's a matter before the justice system, so that process will play out.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
A weather expert says it was certainly a dust devil which lifted away the jumping castle and Zor balls in the Hillcrest tragedy, saying the phenomenon is almost impossible to predict, but was one of several in the Devonport area that day.
Taking to the stand today, UTAS weather expert Dr Nicholas Earl-Jones, who was tasked with pinpointing the cause of the weather phenomenon at Hillcrest Primary School in December 2021. Having analysed witness statements and Weather Bureau data from the day, he's certain it was a dust devil. Rosemary Gamble is defending a charge of failing to comply with a health and safety duty for her role as the operator of the inflatables which were blown into the air that day, killing 6 children and injuring 3 others. Dr Earl-Jones telling the court if anything is going to get picked up by a dust devil, it's something like a bouncy castle or trampoline, something big and light. After analysing weather patterns from the day, he says a sea breeze blowing in from the northwest would have met with southerly background winds to form the dust devil, which then would have been fueled by the temperature difference between the hot ground and the cool air. He said it's a chaotic weather system which might have measured metres across and it would have been travelling along a path and gone over the inflatables, suggesting it would have dissipated once it reached the trees. A number of dust devils were recorded in the Devonport area that day, but according to Dr Earl-Jones, it's essentially impossible to predict such an event. The trial continues on Monday. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
And if this story has caused you distress, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Bus drivers took to the streets today, but on foot, as pay negotiations between Metro Tasmania and the union fire up. Workers say a limited number of drivers is having a dire impact on the way they do their job as conditions worsen.
The wheels on these buses don't go round and round. At least they didn't for 2 hours today.
They love providing their services for the community. But what we've seen over the last 2 years is a reduction in services because these bus drivers aren't paid well enough.
Bus drivers calling for a pay boost after Metro offered an increase of 18% over 3 years, among other entitlements like critical incident leave for workers affected by on-road incidents.
The workers united will never be defeated.
But most importantly, for the higher-ups to listen.
They come in, do the 8 hours and go home. There's no concern that they're going to run late or miss a toilet break or be stuck to their desk with a camera over their shoulder all day.
I don't think you can give them enough of a pay rise, honestly, the conditions that they have to work under.
Metro says it believes its wage offer is fair, reasonable and affordable, and looks forward to reaching an agreement soon to get buses back on the road.
We still have over 180 services cut, and this is not good enough.
With fears Metro could be privatised under new GBE reforms, unions are now looking to the state government
to provide more resources to Metro Tasmania so these bus drivers can get back to work.
There was $8 million last year, another $14 million is on the table, but we actually want more Metro drivers.
The rail, tram and bus union will continue talks with Metro next week, but hinted at kicking further action into gear if their calls aren't answered. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
The opposition has seized on figures from the Treasurer's annual financial report showing more blowouts in the state budget. It shows the government spent $40 million more than planned on consultants, while also overspending on advertising and travel. The Shadow Treasurer says they need to stop treating Tasmania's finances like a credit card.
The first thing that they could do is start bringing some consultancies in-house. Not only will that save money, it boosts our public services capacity to deliver projects and it's better value for money.
But the government says they should put their money where their mouth is.
Until they come out with a fully costed alternative budget that shows us where they're going to get budget savings or how they're going to spend their money, they should actually step up and be a real alternate government.
Labor also says the government blew the Treasurer's reserve, which was set aside for overruns, by more than $100 million. Police and SES are continuing their search for missing man Ahmed Hamada. The 29-year-old was last seen in Hobart CBD on October 29. His vehicle was found a few days later unattended in Fortescue Bay. Police say they're concerned for his welfare and are calling on anyone with information to come forward. A well-known Tasmanian road servicing business has rebranded ahead of its 60th birthday. Roadways returning to its original name while keeping some links to the past.
Over the years, it's a continuous process of training. So we've always sort of taken a path that said we'd like our employees to all have qualifications and all have the specific skills recognised for the sector.
But the government's calling for thousands more people to choose a career in the civil and construction industry. 3 crime-fighting canines are hanging up their collars, calling it a day, ready to kick back and put their paws up in a well-earned retirement. A ceremony held at the Police Academy thanking the poochers for their service on the force.
They've been on the beat as police dogs for 8 years, but today marked the end of an era for Fang, Olsen and Quinn.
A really important day for the Tasmanian Police where we recognise the retirement of 3 of our long-serving police dogs.
The trio hanging up their harnesses for the final time, awarded a Commissioner's certificate today for their dedication and loyalty to the force.
It's a bittersweet moment. It's great for him to be finally retiring.
These 4-legged officers have spent their long careers chasing crime, sniffing out trouble, protecting the Tasmanian community.
They've done a great job. They've seized a lot of firearms, they've seized a lot of drugs, and now really heading for a really well-earned retirement.
Clocking 22 years of combined service, more than 150 in dog years, but not without their right-hand pal side by side.
Spend more time with them than their families.
The bond between cop and canine is a special one, starting when the pups are as little as 12 months old.
They stay on with us until between 8 and 9 years of age.
And this bond will continue beyond the force for Fang and Quinn, who enjoy retirement with their handlers. Meanwhile, Olsen will embark on another journey with a new family.
He'll be moving on, but we've got lots of applicants for him. He deserves everything that he's worked for.
The most urgent mission these poochers now face involve tummy rubs, treats and rest. Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmanian News.
Launceston Airport has received a major boost through a new deal with the Qantas Group. It's entered a 5-year agreement to help with redevelopment works at the terminal, including an expanded arrivals hall.
So we'll be providing new baggage facilities, so new bag belts. So right now we're getting to the point where we're quite congested at certain peak times.
A new relaxation space, rental car booths and a new window looking out to the runway are also planned for the hall. The Tasmanian Craft Fair is celebrating a record attendance, with the event exceeding its visitor target of 18,000 people for this year's show. Organisers say the figure surpasses pre-COVID 2019 numbers. The fair also received high interstate interest, with 1,500 visiting from the mainland. Final visitor numbers are yet to be determined. The redevelopment of the Northern Integrated Care Service is now underway, starting with the construction of a research and innovation centre supported by the Clifford Craig Foundation.
The benefits for having such a centre for Launceston will mean that we will be able to attract, retain more clinicians and more top-tier health staff to the region.
It means that we'll have state-of-the-art facilities for clinical trials and research, along with a partnership with Clifford Craig Foundation.
The multi-million-dollar works will also include new research and library facilities and more space for the hospital's clinical services. And a Tasmanian community sports facility is about to get a new lease on life. Modernisation works for Queenborough Oval beginning this morning, aiming to meet the growing demands of the sport teams that call the Oval home.
For the many people who use Sandy Bay's Queenborough Oval, a long-awaited upgrade is finally coming to fruition. Preparation works underway for the eventual upgrade of the facility.
For us, having some functions, being able to hold some best and fairest counts and end-of-year gatherings is exactly what we need, rather than going off-site, so that just gives us another opportunity within the club.
Being able to have modern facilities will help us attract more players and also just provide decent facilities for our existing players.
The redevelopment works will include 4 new change room facilities in order to meet Disability Discrimination Act access requirements and to accommodate a growing number of female participants, along with a new grandstand space, toilet facilities and accessibility improvements.
It's a long time in the making, obviously 60 years to get an upgrade here. Our 130 men and women that play here are very excited for it.
It hasn't been upgraded for a long time, so it's beyond time for this to happen.
Plans also incorporate future provisions for a gym, medical sites and refurbished umpires' rooms, meeting the needs of the 29 teams that use the facility.
The number of female participants in cricket is only growing exponentially.
And I think it's actually perfect timing as well, with the Tasmanian team coming in 2028. We are expecting to see our numbers grow over the next few years.
Ensuring the ground will be enjoyed by many generations to come. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening. Hobart and Launceston registered 18 today, Devonport and Burnie 17 degrees, and apart from friendly beaches with 21 today, all temperatures below average. St Helens 18, Flinders Island 17, King Island, Smithton, Grove and Bushy Park all 16 degrees, Low Head and Strawn 15, Lyawini a top of 8. And of course we all noticed that a cold front passed today, bringing 18 millimetres of rain overnight to Henty Canal and a further 11 millimetres to 4 p.m. to Darwin Dam. A large area of cloud is over Western Australia, convective cloud over Northern Australia and low cloud evident today over southeastern parts. Tomorrow a high pressure centre sits over eastern Victoria, a cold front caught in a westerly airstream well to our southwest. We'll have west-northwesterly winds tomorrow up to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots at times in the south, but lighter over the east later in the day. Swells up to 5 metres and over in western and southern waters. We do have a strong wind warning, that's from Tasman Island around to Sandy Cape, along with the southwest lakes. Hobart, Saturday, cloudy and 18. 14 for Maydena, a showery day, and 16 the top for Oatlands. Launceston tomorrow, 17 and a possible shower. Devonport 16, 1 overnight for Lyawini, a windy 10 later in the day. 16 for Burnie, showers increasing over Strawn, 15 the top, 15 also for Marrawar. And for St Helens tomorrow, 18. Swansea 20 and 18 for Orford, fine and cloudy in the east. On Sunday, a fine day apart from an isolated shower over the west, far south and northeast, easing in the afternoon. A fine mostly sunny day on Monday after patchy morning fog and frost, and on Tuesday light showers over the north, otherwise fine with light winds. Partly cloudy in Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow. A possible shower forecast for Sydney and Brisbane, but a fine 35 in Darwin. Bit of cloud over Hobart, it's 13 at the moment, 14 in Launceston, 13 right now in Devonport. Kim, big weekend for you with your son Blair's 21st birthday. You sure you're old enough to have a 21-year-old child?
Oh, look at you go. I was very, very young, Murph. It's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. That's all your news for now. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Good night.